Start the meeting of the Soundview Commission on May 24th. It's at the Town Hall. We are being recorded. We have people in the room and also people on the line. We have two regular member absences, Joanne Lishing and Frank Murata. We have two alternates available, and Sloan Danhauer and Paul Orzel, so no objection. We'll name Sloan and Paul as voting members this evening. And first order of business is to approve the minutes of the April 26th meeting. Michaela got those out, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Harry made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that was Paul?
Paul. That was Paul. Second.
Any discussion? All right, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, motion carries. On to business. First thing we'll do is start with the connectivity grant update. I'd like to just review the process on how we got to where we are with the connectivity grant. We applied for a state grant for connectivity, which would allow us to put some sidewalks in and other enhancements to allow pedestrian and other forms of traffic to the area. And we were awarded the grant for $400,000. Since that time, we have had a number of public meetings, outreaches to the community and the abutting property owners. We've also had a number of individual meetings with individual property owners to discuss how the process would go. In general, we had some concerns on Hartford Avenue side that that there are some water issues. When the road was reconfigured 20 some odd years ago, a portion of the area that sloped towards the road was then resloped towards people's houses, and it created some water issues. So in the process of putting together the sidewalk engineering, we established about 7 or 8 feet of the area that sloped towards the personal residences would now slope towards the street. So a good portion of that town property that sloped toward residences now slopes towards the street to help correct the water issues. With that slope and with the elevation of the sidewalk, there were some elevation discrepancies between the old driveways and the new driveways with the sidewalk. So in doing so, our engineer put together a plan so the driveway slopes to the individual properties would be in accordance with engineering practices and state standard, and I believe that's the 7%. I believe that's what it is. The homeowners on Hartford Avenue were discussed with them and reviewed all the aspects of that particular slope. We asked for homeowners to give us a temporary rights agreement to allow us to go onto their property to finish the driveway slope properly so that there wouldn't be any safety concerns. Everybody did approve the TRA, temporary rights agreement, with the exception of one person. The state statute gives us ability to go on an individual person's property even without a temporary rights agreement in order to correct an unsafe situation, which we are utilizing on that one individual. The driveway slopes were devised so that if there was a concrete driveway there, we would put a concrete apron. If there was an asphalt driveway, it would be asphalt apron. And if there was a gravel or grass driveway, it would be either gravel or reinforced turf. Reinforced turf actually is a matting that's put down so that the grass could stay stable if the car drives over it. There have been some concerns with the asphalt aprons that were put onto some individual driveways. They were reviewed with the engineer and the contractor. The contractor had subcontracted that portion of the work, and he agreed that some of that work on the asphalt was not according to standard, and has agreed to replace those asphalt aprons in accordance with the standard. I should mention that all of the bids that were submitted regarding this project were reviewed by the state DOT, and the contractor is a state DOT contractor and has all the proper qualifications and certifications to do such work. So right now the sidewalks are installed on Hartford Avenue and a good portion of Shore Road. We were very fortunate, and the bids came in low enough so that we were able to do the entire portion of Shore Road. There were some concerns regarding some driveways on Shore Road, and we met with the property owners and made the corrections that we could make within the confines of DOT regulations. Now, it's understood that DOT has certain regulations regarding parking and backing out onto a state road, and because those some of the parking areas on Shore Road did not comply, we had to put in the proper sidewalk and buffers for compliance with parking areas that backed out onto Shore Road. That's all been done. So because we came in so far under budget, pardon me, the DOT has allowed us to go for further enhancements, and one of those further enhancements is the addition of a bus stop parking area, and that would be at the town-owned property across the street from the church on Shore Road. Right now we're working with the engineer, put together a bus stop area, which would include a bus shelter, significant landscaping, and would take the two bus stops that are presently on Shore Road, one eastbound and one westbound, and move them to an off the road bus area, thus making it a lot more safe, and also with the landscaping enhancements, a much nicer, prettier area. Give us kind of a focal point for the entry to Soundview. So we're working with the engineer right at the moment to do that. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock there'll be another meeting of the Connecticut Community Grant Committee. You can get to that on the town website, and of course all our meetings are open to the public, and you can dial in or join us on WebEx and see how the progress is on that. Once we get the preliminary design costs or preliminary construction costs for that bus area, we'll be able to determine if that is doable and or how much of that would be doable based on what the extra money is on the grant. We've also requested the two decorative street sign posts be placed at the top of Shore Road at Hartford Avenue. Presently, they're just the standard perforated steel post, and we would like to get matching posts similar to what's on the lower portion of Hartford Avenue to kind of tie the whole street together. So we're looking for the costs from the contractor to do that. Once we've got our costs involved, we'll be able to determine how much of that we can do, and the DOT will review the project scope, additional project scope. They've already given us preliminary information that they believe everything we're asking for would be within the confines of the grant, and as long as we don't go over, we'll be approved. We'll have more information on that tomorrow, so feel free to join the Community Connectivity Grant meeting. It's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and you can get to it from the town website. So I'll ask if anybody has any questions on that now, because I know there were a number of questions that popped up over the course of the last several weeks. Okay.
Karen has a question.
Okay.
Will there be renderings of the bus kiosk?
Yes, we have some preliminary renderings. The way we put together the additional package, the engineering cost for the bus kiosk area is not applicable to the grant. The engineering costs would be picked up by the town. The actual construction of the bus area would be applicable for the grant. So we've asked the engineer to put together a very minimalist approach, so we're not chewing up town money on that.
What was the approach?
Yeah, well, the selectmen approved $6,500 for additional engineering costs for the bus area, and it looks like we have somewhere in the vicinity of $60,000 to $80,000 of additional funds or excess funds in the grant. So it's a pretty good return on investment there. We have done some preliminary discussions with the zoning enforcement officer to make sure we're okay with zoning up there, and there may be some permitting that's required, but once again, it's a C10 zone, and we believe, based on preliminary discussions, that it should not be a major undertaking.
Is there going to be any input about what this kiosk looks like?
It's not a kiosk, it's a bus shelter. The bus shelter itself is being provided by the transit district. So the bus shelter will be provided by the transit district. Our portion of it would be to put together, put a pad down, a concrete pad, some benches, driveway in and out, like I said, a significant amount.
So your standard design is based on urban settings more than our type of setting?
It's a standard three-side.
They have them in Essex?
Yeah, they have them in Essex. They're just standard three-side.
They're small. It's not big.
It's not a big area. It's not a big thing.
They're made out of metal and glass, right?
It's
Plexiglass, I think.
Yeah, I think it's plexi.
Yeah. But they are providing that. So that's already been approved by the transit district and their regulatory agency. So that's coming from them. So that's not part of our portion of it. Our portion would be to prepare the area for that.
No, I understand that part of it, but what I'm worried about is that it looks out of place for the area.
That is the reason for the landscaping and green enhancements there, Harry. So right now we've got.
But that doesn't help the structure itself.
The structure itself.
It's next to the police station.
It's next to the police station.
And it's next to Dimitri, so it's not bucolic. You know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's next to the police station.
And we're not paying for it.
I can't believe you're taking that kind of an attitude about
It's also not right at the top of the road. The bus station is set back from the road, and there's going to be trees and things in front of it. You're not going to see, and it's small. It's not like a gigantic thing. It's not going to be like the sewer thing.
No, believe me, I understand what it looks like because I see them all the time. And I just think that a building, no matter what size like that, will totally be out of place in that area.
Well, thank you for your comment, Harry, but you feel free to get online tomorrow and take a look and give your thoughts.
I mean, just because we're getting it doesn't mean that there can't be an alternative to what it looks like.
Well, the question is then, who pays for the alternative?
Yeah, I've seen them all over the place.
Yeah, they're not unattractive. They're not unattractive.
They're not
I mean, I think this is as nice as anything we would do.
Yeah. But Harry, I think tomorrow, if you're so inclined, I think your points should be given to the Connectivity Grant Committee, and
I mean, you couldn't put that on Lime Street.
Why not?
Do you think
Historic district.
Yeah.
Well, it's a historic district. It's another story. We had the opportunity to make Soundview a historic district, but that
some
didn't
people
work.
didn't agree.
So. But Harry, feel free to log in tomorrow. It's at 4 o'clock. It's listed on the town calendar as CCGC, in case anybody needs to know the acronym that we use. Any other comments? I'll move on to the 2021 operations plan. I emailed out an operations plan to everybody last week. This plan was reviewed actually was devised through a number of meetings with the resident trooper, the first selectman, myself, members of Miami Beach Association, the Rangers, and Officers Solari and Officers Collins, to make sure we put together a plan that was workable and doable to the best of our ability. So I sent everybody out the operational plan for this coming summer. A couple of key points here on the plan is the capacity of the park of the beach area, 570 for Miami Beach and Soundview at Hartford Avenue, and 30 for Soundview at Swan Avenue. The two private beaches in front of the Pavilion and Kokomo's are in accordance with regulatory agencies and their site plans, and they would be in charge of monitoring those. The Rangers and the police will be checking capacities for the public beaches, and when the beach reaches capacity, it will no longer be no admittance at that point in time until it frees up a little bit. The parking lot will remain essentially the same. We already talked about the gate on Portland Avenue, which would be an exit gate for the parking lot. Entrance would be on Hartford Avenue. The agreement with the police department is that gate would be manned so that cars would not be entering from that gate. And as they exit that gate, they would turn right or north onto Portland Avenue for exit. If for any reason they can't man that gate, they'll close that gate and everybody will enter and exit on the Hartford Avenue side. The parking lot will remain essentially the same, with 71 paid spaces, 2 handicap paid spaces, 7 reserved spaces for Old Line Beach permits, and 3 30-minute business spaces. There was some confusion last year with the beach permit passes. So we've kind of resolved that confusion. Last year, some people were getting ticketed with a beach permit pass if they were in a park in a paid space. The program this year will be fairly well documented with the Rangers and the police, and it's all in agreement that when somebody enters the town parking lot, if they have a beach parking pass, they'll be directed to one of the reserved spaces. When the reserved spaces are filled, then they'll be allowed to park in any paid space in the parking lot. They can park in any paid space on the street without regard to whether the paid spaces in the parking lot are filled or not. The town parking lot is open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and it'll be paid from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So we give everybody a little half-hour grace period. The street parking would be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And once again, to give a little flexibility to the businesses in terms of people coming in for an ice cream or whatever, going to the carousel. The costs have been revised. The weekend and holiday rate is $10 per 2-hour block of time. That's up from $7. And the weekday rate is $6 per 2-hour block of time. That's up from $5. All parking fees, in accordance with the state regulations, are plus 6.35% tax, and that would include the private parking lots too. So the parking fees now have to be taxed, have to have a sales tax applied. And the parking kiosks accept MasterCard and Visa only. There's no cash accepted. So if somebody goes to the parking kiosk, they plug in 2 hours on a weekend, it'll come up $10, and then the parking kiosk will add the tax to that. Police have notified me they're going to vigorously enforce the parking regulations, tickets, and overtime, and with ticketing and towing of vehicles. Once again, it remains the same, 1 motorcycle, car, or golf cart per space. So we did have 2 spaces on the street, space 145 and 146. We were able to reconfigure those 2 spaces to put 5 golf cart parking spaces only. So we have put in a couple of spaces for golf carts specifically. Once again, those are paid spaces, unless the golf cart has a beach parking pass, in which case, as I said earlier, they can park. So those parking spaces are at the very bottom of Hartford Avenue. They're the last 2 spaces on the street, and they now have been changed from 2 car parking spaces to 5 golf cart parking spaces. The beach, as I said, is open from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Last year it closed at 6:30. We moved that to 7:30. Moved that up, and with doing so, as I said earlier, the parking lot remains open till 8 o'clock. Last year it was closed at 6:30. One of the stipulations and agreement we all made was that at any time the town parking lot is open, it will be manned by rangers and or police. There'll be a police officer available in the Soundview area during all times the parking lot is open to the public. Entry to the beach for people going to the beach, two points, and we're going to get into this a little bit farther along. But we agreed that the Hartford Avenue will be the main point of entry to the Miami Beach and Hartford Avenue portion of Soundview, and the rangers and the police department would be counting people as they came in and just looking at cooler sizes. The members of Miami Beach Association would enter at the west end of Pond Road, and I believe that's at Corsino Avenue. And Miami Beach personnel will be counting those individuals and reporting back to the main command post on Hartford Avenue so they can adequately determine capacity. I mean, no plan is perfect, but this is as good as we can come up with at this point in time. Swan Avenue, there'll be a ranger station at the end of Swan Avenue counting capacity at those particular areas. I'm going to get back into access to the beach in a second, but I'll just finish up with this. The gates on Portland and Swan and Portland Avenues will be closed on high traffic days as they had been in the past, and everybody will enter via the Hartford Avenue. And when beaches reaches capacity, the police will put up signage at the top of Hartford Avenue and probably midway down around Bocce that will state the beach is at capacity. And no one else is, it's closed essentially. We will not close the parking lots, the private parking lots of the town parking lot. This is to allow people to go to the businesses that are down there. We've recommended to the private parking lot owners that they do state to their patrons that when the beach reaches capacity, they're not allowed on the beach, period. So when the area is closed to vehicular traffic because the beach is closed or the parking lots are full, residents and business traffic only on the area, in the Soundview area. We went through and looked at all the signage at the town parking lot, and I don't know if you've been down there in a while, but the signage, there was sign creepage, I call it. All of a sudden, all sorts of signs popped up. Don't park here, exit here, don't enter here, pay at the kiosk, don't pay, pay here, don't pay there. And then, of course, as we've added some regulations on the beach, they've added these little signs that hang down underneath the main sign. So we reviewed that. Paul Orzell, myself, Trooper Weber, and First Selectman Griswold went down there. We looked at all the signage in the town parking lot, devised a plan. I've got a copy of it here so anyone else to see it. To revise the signs, to eliminate some redundancy, and to hopefully put together a sign program that at least looks a little bit more attractive. In other words, we have kind of this beige sand-colored background with a dark blue lettering. So many of the signs that some were yellow with black and some were white with red and so on and so forth, They'll all be revised to be that beige sand colored with blue lettering. And I talked to the sign people today, and they were finishing those up, and they should be installed by Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So that's kind of a nice thing to have happen there. I know that a lot of people were complaining about all the signs. We actually had this big sign on the front gate of the parking lot that said "Closed, lot full," when the lot was empty. So just didn't make a lot of sense. So we removed that sign and corrected some of the other signage that was there. Okay, now let's go back to beach access in Miami Beach. We originally talked about with the resident trooper and the rangers and Miami Beach about the two access points. One for Miami Beach residents way down in the end of Pond Road, on the west end of Pond Road, and the other being at the Hartford Avenue area. One of the unintended consequences of that is that Lot B11, which is about midway down Pond Road, was closed down for public access. Lot B11 is a rather important access point to many people in the Portland Avenue area, as access to Miami Beach through Lot B11 is part of their deed. And we want to make sure that we don't do anything to inhibit or remove the rights of their deed. I found out on Friday afternoon and all weekend that Miami Beach placed a gate at the corner of Pond and Portland, and would not let anybody pass that gate, and also wouldn't let anybody through Lot B11. Of course, Lot B11 we discussed was closed temporarily, but the gate was a permanent style gate, was put up at the corner of Pond and Portland. Pond Road is owned by the Miami Beach Association. That's all of Pond Road, from Hartford Avenue all the way west. However, in 1997, there was a settlement agreement by and between the Miami Beach Association and the town of Old Lyme. And one portion of that settlement agreement, the settlement agreement actually allows the town of Old Lyme to utilize Pond Road, a portion of Pond Road. And I'll read this salient point here. It was Miami Beach Association versus Town of Old Lyme. There was a settlement agreement December 9th, 1997. Okay, that portion of Pond Road running east and west between Hartford Avenue and easterly bound by alley number 3 shall remain open and accessible by vehicle to the public, subject to the following stipulations. It goes on, essentially it says, and you can read this for yourself, that Miami Beach can put a gate on Pond Road to the westerly side of Lot B11. A partial barrier and sign placed to the westerly boundary of Lot B11. It does not say anything about putting a gate at the corner of Pond and Portland. It also doesn't say anything about inhibiting traffic on Lot B11, especially to those that have deeded rights to that particular lot. I spoke with Tim Griswold today at length, and we are going to set up a conference call with the Miami Beach president, hopefully tomorrow morning, to resolve the situation amicably. We certainly don't want to prevent deeded property owners from utilizing Lot B11, and a gate on Pond Road should be moved to the westerly portion of Pond Road, westerly of Lot B11, and we have a stipulated agreement that says so. Hopefully we'll be able to resolve this tomorrow. And I believe the persons, the property owners on Portland Avenue, all have Lot B11 as a deeded right-of-way. Am I correct, Michaela?
Yeah,
All right.
there may also be some on Hartford, but we know that Portland does.
Okay, so at some point in time, we may actually have to try to research who actually has those deeded rights, whether they be on Hartford
But it's
or
a
Portland.
public thoroughfare.
You know, but let's start with getting the deeded rights portion of it, and we're going to try it for everything everything that's legal and right. We certainly don't want to inhibit the traffic. One of the concerns we have, obviously, is how do we count capacity. So now it requires another person to count capacity. Don't know whether the police and rangers have it or whether Miami Beach people have it. We're going to hopefully resolve that tomorrow and get that worked out. More on that to come. I know that was a major topic of concern this past weekend, and we certainly want to make sure that we do that right once again. No plan is perfect, and we found almost immediately that our operational plan for this summer had a couple of flaws in it. So we're going to do the best we can to fix those flaws. I did send this out to the commission members last week. Are there any questions regarding this? Harry, yes, you have a question.
You said that at the bottom of Hartford Avenue, 2 of the regular parking spots have been utilized for golf carts.
Correct.
Okay, are you talking about the 2 parking spots in front of the 2 private residences
No.
opposite Kokomo?
No, there are no parking spots in front of the 2 private residences at Kokomo's, to the best of my knowledge.
All right. The problem that's happening is that there are 3 cars that are parked in front of those 2 houses, blocking the entrance to the beach. I have no access to get onto the beach. That's part 1. Part 2 is the split rail fence that was put up infringes on the opening, so that putting a machine and a tractor on there forces the machine and tractor to go up on the corner of the sidewalk because there's not enough beach room to get by. So that split rail fence needs to be remeasured and shortened a little to give proper access, not just for my equipment, but for anything that needed to get on the beach.
That was actually supposed to be temporary, and then we put the boulders in, so the fence was supposed to come out. So I think that fence can come out.
I'll talk to Ed about that tomorrow. Harry, do you know what? I think it's probably a 10-foot wide opening. I believe that's the standard opening.
Yeah, but if that's 10 foot, my equipment would have to run over the sidewalk to get 10 foot. Is it 10 foot to the fence or 10 foot to the sidewalk?
I don't know. I'm just presuming here. I put a note. I'll talk to Tim about that tomorrow. Okay.
But that was
So let me just explain a little bit. This is Paul.
Sure,
that
Paul.
fence has been up there since spring of last year, and it was put up partially for the COVID and partially blocking. They actually put up a snow fence then after that and opened it partially. But that fence has been there for over a year, and I haven't noticed any problem with the Zamboni making it through that area. Now, again, from whatever I see, he kind of flies right through. I do, however, share Harry's concern about the parking with the house on the corner, because that has been sold. The old fence that they took down, the chain link fence, did have a sign hanging off that fence that said private parking. Supposedly, that property had rights to park 2 vehicles in front of those 2 buildings.
He's right.
Now, this year, Officer Millardo has had a conversation with the new property owner, indicating that he can only park 2 vehicles there at any one time on the street. That's going to become a confusing point, and I see Harry's concern. In fact, I actually saw you down there, Harry, kind of walking around and having a look. So he has to either be instructed, or the spots somehow have to be laid out so that it allows more than enough room for Harry's equipment to get in and out of it. But Harry's got a very valid point, and if no one speaks to this owner, I mean, and again, Officer Millardo has, but doesn't seem as if it's done any good. Harry, the day you were down there, they had sleepovers, so there were actually 4 cars that were, but again, the red pickup is parked to a point where your equipment cannot get by. So Harry needs help here.
Thank you. I've had conversations with him, and essentially, he's ignored my pleasantries.
Yeah, I do know that he was officially welcomed by the Miami Beach Association, saying, take down that wall on the beach. There's no walls allowed. So that may have struck his ire to start off with, but you walk down Miami Beach, there are fences and walls all the way down.
He's got new walls up on Hartford Avenue too.
Right.
Well, I'll talk to Tim. I'm unaware of any arrangement where we allow people to park on the street. I mean, I can't.
Again, I think that the deed has to be checked because there was a town sign on that fence that said private parking.
We'll have to see how that sign arrived there.
And there is a sign down there that says no parking beyond this point, or police vehicles only. Right.
So once again, we do have some confusing, conflicting signs. So I'll talk to Tim, and maybe Ed Adante can shed some light on that also. So I will be talking to Tim tomorrow, but I've got that down here, and I'll see.
Hey, Paul, did I do anything stupid when I was down there?
I don't know. I wasn't looking for that because you know what? If I probably said something, I'd be stupider.
Okay.
Hey, Frank. Since I so rudely interrupted, I want to go back to a point that you made regarding the increase in parking fees, and they're now subject to Connecticut state tax. I'm not sure. I'm not confident that the town is going to communicate this requirement to the private lot owner. I know that there was conversation indicating that this year's permits would not be issued until the fee was collected, and that would then be an additional sales tax fee. But I think somehow the private property owners should be made aware that they are now liable, and ignorance, the last I could tell, never quite worked with the law. So they should know. And I know one thing that Tim did say was that one of the requirements maybe is you don't get your permit this year unless you provide a state tax registration document. I don't know where that is.
I had recommended to the selectmen a couple of weeks ago when we discussed the tax issue with the town parking lot. I had sent a note to all 3 selectmen recommending that in order to get a permit this year, that the town should require as part of the permit application a copy of their state resale certificate number.
Okay.
If you open,
I'm not even sure they're. Go ahead.
If you open any business in any town, that's one of the things that most towns require for businesses. So, and since private parking lots are businesses, they should be held to the same standard. So, I did recommend that to the selectmen. I don't know where that stands.
I know it's going to be unfortunate if they don't get caught for a year or two, and then they're subjected to a penalty and fine. Somebody should tap on somebody's shoulder and say, hey, I'm just saying to be fair to them.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we're not trying to put any obstacles in front of anybody, but we certainly want to make sure that
I think all we should do is inform them and not police them.
Oh, it's not up to us police them, but...
Totally agree, but at least we should tell them, right. Now, you're not going to police them, I totally agree.
And we're not responsible for it. But
absolutely not.
What is confusing is the fact that the town of Old Lyme, you can't charge them tax. Now, we're asking the town to collect the sales tax.
Well, for parking fees, yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. The town's not exempt from collecting sales tax. If they sell something that's a state taxable item, then it's taxable. So I talked to Nicole about this a couple of weeks ago, and she's putting together programs because she has similar type of issues elsewhere regarding these taxable fees. So, Michaela, you had a question?
I just had a question about those the 2 new houses with parking spaces.
They're not new houses.
Well,
I mean,
New
newly
owners.
purchased houses. Yeah, I know they're not new. I always thought there was parking in the back of the second house. Is there not?
Yeah, there is.
There is. So,
But right now, you can't get access to it because there's dirt and debris in the the parking area.
because as far as I know, there was never a parking space there that you're not allowed
Paul
to park
was
on the
right.
street
There was
there
a
at all.
sign out
There was a
on the
sign.
fence that said.
yeah, but I don't think there's any formal agreement with the town
Yeah.
for allowing anybody. I mean,
And that may have been just a sign that the property owner put up.
yeah, that's it. Who knows? Who knows? I don't believe there's any. I can't imagine the town having a side agreement to allow people to
Right.
park on a
But they
town
do
street.
have parking available behind that other house.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Probably for 4 cars, Michaela.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah, at least 4 cars.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the operational plan? We also added, by the way, to the new signage, stand-up paddle boards are prohibited within designated swim areas per order of selectmen. So that should cover us. Hopefully, we'll be all set with that. Next item is events, concerts. I just got a text from Joanne. All the concert dates are filled. First concert date is with the Old Lyme Town Band. Second is with a band called Souls on Fire, which is kind of a 70s, 80s band. They do a lot of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Great band. I've actually subbed with them a couple of times, so I'm really familiar with the quality of the musicians, and I thought that they would be a good band. Suggested it to Joanne, and she looked at the videos and agreed. Third band is Red Satin, and fourth band is Jenny and her Beer Barrel Boys, or I forget what it's the old Four Barrel really. Yeah, so it's they got a new name, but they're a lot of the same people. So it ought to be a great summer. A lot of fun music coming up down there. We did have some issues with electricity, and the town Public Works Department has this big old generator on a trailer that they said they could bring down to us, and it's large, it's big, and it's noisy. And I was mentioning this to Trooper Weber, and he says, well, we have one here that we bought specifically for keeping our computers running in case of a power outage, and we'll just bring that down and you can use it. So that's great. It's a 2,000 watt quiet Honda generator, and it's suitable for gasoline. It's just 2,000 watts.
Those suitcase ones, probably.
Yeah.
I have one of those myself.
Yeah, and it's electronic equipment friendly, which is the important part. Is yours a Honda?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's specifically. I mean, you buy the.
Sold $1 million of them. 2 million.
2 million. You buy the Harbor Freight generators for $329. And you plug in a piece of electronic equipment, and I know that for a fact because I blew a computer this last winter when we had a power outage because I didn't use the right kind of generator. And since then, I learned an awful lot about pure sine wave generators and other type of sine wave generators. So when you look at it and you say a Honda generator of 2,000 watts is probably $1,500–$1,600, and you can buy that 2,000 watt generator from Harbor Freight for $300. There is a difference. So police have offered to come down with their generator for our concerts. Between that and the power at the flagpole, we should have enough to power up the equipment so we can have our concerts down there. We're still looking at rain location, and I think we will be able to use the community center for rain location because the capacity issues have changed drastically for that. So I think we should be all set with that. Facilities, landscaping. Brian, are you on the line? Brian Cornell?
Here I am.
Here you are. How many requests for proposal did you put out?
I put out 7 altogether, and you get the mail, so I don't know who's responded. Surprisingly, 2 or 3 of them actually said they're too busy this year to even look at it.
Well, out of the 7 that you put out, 0 responded.
Really?
None. I just checked the mailbox.
Everyone that I sent out to, and for those also who were recommended by members of the commission and public who contacted me also, everybody I talked to told them what we were looking to do. They gave me email addresses and such, and they got a copy of the RFP. We haven't gotten anything back. Oh my.
Nothing. I did talk to Ed Dante last week and asked him for recommendations. He gave me a recommendation. I contacted that individual. They said they would be very happy to give me a quote, and since then I've called them 3 times and haven't gotten through to them. So I'm going to keep pressing, and hopefully we'll get somebody to come down and pull our weeds and plant our flowers before it turns into a jungle down there. But thanks, Brian. I appreciate your persistence and help on that.
Yeah, I had sent you a list of everybody who I sent things out to, even that larger firm, Spriggs and Twigs. I thought for sure we'd hear back from them.
Nothing. I got nothing from anybody. Got nothing.
Okay. Well, if you need me to do some more legwork, let me know, boss.
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
I am finding out that landscapers are, well, part of the problem is they're busy, and the other part of the problem is they can't find any help. So I'm talking to a guy from my house, and he said he's all alone. He came to my house the other day. It's like a 4-day job with a crew of people, and he was all alone. So I asked him. He says, I can't find any help. So we'll keep plugging. If anybody here or anybody on the phone or if that reviews this tape, feel free to contact me if you have anybody that's interested in doing it. It's just 3 times a year, and it's probably not even all day. But just pull some weeds, trim some trees, plant some flowers, and that's about it.
Yep, as I said, Frank, everybody, even outside of our original list, members of the commission and such, who gave me names, people just didn't have time or didn't want to hear about it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'll be here.
Very distressing. Very distressing.
Frank?
Yeah. Yes.
Frank, this is Paul. Have we thought of youth services, or maybe there's an Eagle Scout candidate looking for a project?
Oh, excellent idea. So, Paul, tomorrow when you contact youth services, feel free to get a person's name, and maybe we could capitalize on that.
Sure.
Dead silence. Dead silence.
I said sure.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it.
What about scouting? What about scouts? Is there a scout troop organization in town?
There's a Boy Scout and Girl Scout organizations.
And you might want to just contact them through LYSB.
Yeah, LYSB would probably be able to at least get you into the right location for that.
Right. I mean, you know, we can make a donation, which would probably be much less than hiring a contractor, and everyone might be happy.
When the garden club refuses to do it, I mean, what's it tell you? It tells
They don't
you
have anybody.
Well, they don't have. They're out of people.
and nobody wants
They don't have
to
anybody.
pull weeds.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have a button
Yeah.
or a joystick, nobody wants to know about it. It's work.
Yeah.
It's manual, hard, old-fashioned work.
It's rather distressing.
And that's what our society's come to.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to trash can enclosures. I know that Michaela and Paul met with Eric Olson. Eric had come up with one plan. I looked at it and with him, and we discussed another option. And has he gotten back to you with anything yet?
No.
Okay.
I have nothing.
I'll push on him a little bit.
Okay.
I'll push on. I did talk to Ed Adante regarding the trash can enclosures. He was thrilled. He says, those cans at the end of the Hartford Avenue weigh a gazillion pounds, and he's tired of trying to shuffle them around. So he's looking around for 55-gallon drums with dome lids that we can put in the enclosures in the corrals. So he's fine. And we'll just redistribute the heavy decorative cans in the town parking lot and up and down the street.
What I use is 55-gallon poly drums. I get them from a car wash. When they empty out the soap, they're white, they're clean. Cut off the tops and put trash can covers on them.
Yeah, I just talked to Ed, and he said, well, I've got some. He said he's got the drums. He just wasn't sure about the lids, but he was gonna get some lids.
The lids are, you push them in with a little flapper.
Yep.
They're like $70 a piece.
So he's pretty much on board with the trash can enclosures as soon as we can get it filled. So I'll push out Eric and if Michaela and
Good.
Paul.
I mean, I know he's been busy with the sidewalk commission. So.
Yes.
And his regular business. So.
Yeah. Okay, signs. We talked about parking lot signs. I have no new information regarding the Miami Beach lawsuit appeal. Does anybody else have? Okay. Golf cart permit program. PJO, you're up.
I'm up again?
You got it.
Okay. This will be rather easy. In fact, we met. Frank and I met with the Board of Selectmen. I believe. In fact, we went to 2 meetings now, so it's been over the past month. The first meeting we presented what we had, but selectmen weren't comfortable, and they wanted to have the documents reviewed by our town attorney, Jack Collins, which I believe was good advice. Attorney Collins today, just kind of like in the 11th hour, provided back the revised copies of the documents. And I can say that the high-level overview of this is the documents are standing as they were written. The only issue that Attorney Collins had that we found out, and I'm sure that the police department found out as well, is golf carts cannot cross a state highway. We thought that they could. Well, they can't. State law says you can't. However, that crossing has to be associated with a golf course or country club, which, I mean, our status isn't there yet, but we're working on it. So that was one of the points that Attorney Collins made in this. There's just a single bullet in there saying golf carts may not operate on or go across Route 156. So they changed the jurisdiction somewhat. So they removed all of the North Road, Hartford, Portland, Swan Avenue extensions, and the jurisdiction now Excuse me while I bring up that page.
Actually, Paul, they left the entire jurisdiction on there. They just stated they can't cross the highway. But I did talk to, had some preliminary discussions, and we're going to see what we could do about getting that resolved with the state.
Yeah, okay. All right. And then the other thing that they really wrote, and it was perfect, was the hold harmless agreement that's been incorporated into the registration form. They've really lawyered it up, which was something we were looking for. Some of the things that I had were copies from other areas and states and towns within our area here. So he's returned that to us. He said it's ready for a Board of Selectmen review and approval as far as he's concerned. And we'll be good to go.
Great. So I did email it out to everybody today. I hope everybody got a chance to do have some copies here if you'd like to see it, to the people that are present. As Paul said, one of the things that Attorney Collins did do, which was great, he updated some of the regulatory statutes that had changed since Paul put together the original brief, and also lawyered it up, tightened it up, the whole harness and things of that nature. A couple of things he mentioned that we can't really call it a golf cart inspection. So we changed the word, rather than golf cart inspection, we're verifying that equipment exists on a golf cart rather than inspect it. So this, essentially, if you look at this, if you had a chance to look at it, it's real close to what we approved at our meeting, last meeting. And you need anything, Saul?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's 3 pages.
Finish pass that down, please. One more here.
So what you're saying, Frank, is the equipment inspection, which is of the golf cart, that verbiage has been changed to equipment verification.
Correct. All the things that you and I had put down and that you had put down originally and that we all agreed to, of locking brake, power switch, headlights, all of that all remains. All the regulatory issues regarding drivers' age and licenses and speed limits and adhering to all the traffic rules, parking rules, all of that pretty much is the same. Hold harmless is really beefed up significantly, and the regulatory statutes that we originally had put down in the regulations were changed to the updated regulatory statutes. And if I recall correctly, the older statutes did not limit liability to towns, and the new statutes limit liabilities to towns. So it's actually to our advantage that we use the new updated statute citations here. So it's, I mean, there's really no salient change in anything here other than the Shore Road issue and the change of the statute citations, and also some wording changes. Rather than inspection, we call it verification and things of that nature. So, so Paul, anything else you think we need to add to that?
No, the documents, are good. We need to get on the docket for, I believe it's this coming Monday.
Yeah.
No, we won't meet. I don't know what the date will be, but we should probably contact Tim and let Tim know that we've got a completed document, and he wanted to know when that was done.
Tim indicated at the last Board of Selectmen meeting that for purposes of approval of the golf cart program, once the attorney has provided his input and reworked the documents so that the town is protected as best as possible, either through insurance or whatever other means, he would not be adverse to calling a special Board of Selectmen meeting for purposes of approving this program. Once again, it's all a matter of trying to get this thing in place and approved before the end of the summer. But there are questions.
Right, and Tim was on the email string of this as well. So.
Yep, he mentioned that to me today. He says, I just got something from Attorney Collins. He says, we'll take a look at it and talk about it tomorrow. So I think Tim should be happy. I've had a number of conversations with Mary Jo, who had some questions and concerns regarding the program. I answered her the best I could, and she seemed to be very pleased with the answers that I provided. The fact that we now have the town attorney on board, and actually the town attorney did take all these documents and put it all into his words and made all the changes, and Paul and I had the opportunity to review the changes and give some input along the way, but the bottom line is the town attorney is very comfortable with it. He wrote it and feels as though the town is well protected with this program. Any questions?
I have a grammar change.
Michaela's got a grammar change. What's your grammar change?
On this page, the Town of Old Lyme, the application,
The
the first line where it says Town of Old Lyme and Soundview Commission is not responsible, that should be are not responsible. That is all.
Okay.
And also where it says.
Where is
check-
that?
That is under
On the
the
application,
registration.
No,
It's-
it's right.
no, the Town of Old Lyme and Soundview Commission are not responsible.
Plural, yeah.
Yeah. And also it says made out Town of Old Lyme, you might want to just add to.
Instead of made out to.
Made out to Town of Old Lyme.
That's on the registration form, Paul.
I'm trying to.
It's the
I know that there's another.
hold harmless agreement.
There's
on the
other
registration.
typos in there as well that I picked up. All right, so I'm on the registration form.
And the hold harmless clause there, the first sentence.
Yeah.
The Town of Old Lyme and Soundview Commission, it says is not, it should read are not.
Right.
Yes, it should
Are
be
not. That is correct.
Okay.
And then I noticed there was something else on this form that was missing the word or, just had an O, but I'll find it again and I'll fix that.
Okay.
So that was one of the corrections. Was there a second one?
On the first
Oh,
page.
yeah. At the end of that sentence, there's 2 periods.
Yep.
And this is probably where I saw it, because
Oh, I see it. It's on the third line from the end. It says, which I may suffer and or incur and/o.
that's it. And there it is, and or, that's correct. Yep, all right.
Where are we here?
There's 3, and I think,
Third line from the bottom, and or, and then the
Okay.
second one says and o.
And or, okay. Okay, if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it right.
Exactly.
and speaking of doing things right, I'm going to say this again. If Ed doesn't get these 5 spaces marked by the weekend, they have already been, this past weekend, they have already been hijacked by motorcycles. Because honestly, they look like motorcycle places. He needs to get the curbing marked. The curbing is not marked. There is nothing, every space is supposed to be stenciled golf cart only, or golf cart parking only, whatever. And the line in between the 2 spaces that were there still exists. So the line has to be blacked out, that one line. And if it's not marked, the situation we're going to run into.
Yep.
Now, Ed did tell me he doesn't even have a stencil for golf carts.
Well, we could go to
That shouldn't be
Staples and buy stencil material
hard
if
to
we
get.
had to.
But again, it's going to be a mess.
Okay, I got a note here. We'll talk to Ed tomorrow. Harry?
So what we're saying is that we're not inspecting the golf carts.
Well, the police department
We're not inspect.
is verifying that the equipment that is required exists.
So if you have a rear view mirror, they don't have to check it. It's there.
It verifies it, yeah, it's there.
The minute,
Okay. So
the minute we
Is it
do
an
an
inspection or
inspection,
not?
Say that, Paul?
no, it's not. We cannot call it an inspection. If
Well,
we
then-
call it an inspection, then the town now becomes liable if there's some incident.
all right. So if I have a golf cart with headlights on it, I don't have to turn them on and off for a cop. All it has to do, all the cop has to do is see that
Harry,
the
Harry,
headlights on
Harry,
the golf
Harry, the method of verification will be up to the police department. It's not our responsibility to determine that.
cart. Well, wait a second. Let me finish now. You have equipment verification.
Correct.
Okay. At the very bottom, you have issued upon successful inspection. What is it?
Oh, wait a second, okay, so,
Inspection.
it sounds like there's another typo here. So we'll
There's
fix
another
that.
typo. Yep.
So that's a typo.
Yep.
Where do you see that, Harry? Just-
Where is that?
Right there.
Where is that?
That is under golf cart rules.
Oh, but it's not on the form.
It's on the form. Okay, we'll just look at golf cart rules here.
Right, that should be changed. On the form, it's right.
In the form, it's right. So
I've got regulations. I guess I didn't print out the rules, although I thought I read that somewhere. This is
Correct
on.
on the form, Paul. But on the
Where's that
rules, it says inspection, so we should just change
okay.
that.
Yeah, on page 1 of 2, it just, do we need to change the word inspection to verification?
So are you saying that verification equals inspection?
I'm not saying anything, Harry. We have a town attorney that is saying, use the word verification, not inspection. I'm not going to argue with the town attorney. He's a much higher pay grade than I am. So
Yeah, but you don't seem to understand. I'm asking you something because I could go before a police officer. If I have headlights on my truck, he's verified there are headlights. Once you ask me to turn them on and off, now you're inspecting them.
I'm not going to get into semantics with you, Harry.
That's not semantics.
I'm not going to get into semantics. We have a town attorney that's reviewed this, believes that this is legal, and this is a document that's workable. So we're going to go, as far as I'm concerned, we go with it. If you want to argue it with Jack Collins, feel free.
I'm not arguing, but think about logic here.
You're dealing with semantics, you're dealing with the law, and I'm sorry, that's not my purview. And it's not our purview. The town attorney says verification is the terminology, and how we verify it, how the police department verifies it, that will be, a standard operating procedure that they'll devise. So we found those two, those several complaints or concerns or typos. Anything else that anybody found in here that, once again, other than some wording changes and some tightening up of the whole harmless and...
All right, I got another one for you, okay?
Yeah, where are you?
I'm sorry.
Where are you?
All right, on the very top of page 1.
Of what?
Under Soundview golf cart rules.
Yeah.
You give the definition of a golf cart, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. On page, that's the registration form, where it says golf cart information, powered by gas or electric. I
Yeah.
think you should eliminate the word gas because golf carts are all battery operated. Once you put gas in, it becomes an ATV.
No, they have gas golf carts.
No.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, there are both gas and electric, in quotes, as designed specifically for golf cart use, are either or.
So how are you gonna figure out if somebody comes with an ATV that looks like a golf cart that's powered by gas?
Usually the VIN number is going to tell you what it is.
Okay, but you don't.
I mean,
Yeah, but ATVs and golf carts are all going to have VIN numbers.
If there's a question,
right, the golf carts. Now, if you show up with a lifted golf cart, a lifted golf cart is where the body is lifted off the frame, the wheels are twice the size, and it's capable of driving on the sand. I don't think we're going to approve that.
right?
But a golf cart, as we know it, and Kokomo's has purchased a brand new 6-passenger that's gas, and it looks just like mine. It's low to the ground. It's got the conventional size tires, but it's gas.
Yeah, they have turf. I think they call them turf tires. I think they're called turf tires.
You will know a vehicle that, gee, looks like a golf cart, but why is it so high off the ground? Now, I see those coming through Soundview, but they're coming from Miami Beach.
Right.
So that's going to be really an enforcement for the police.
Right. Right. So do we have any substantive concerns other than a couple of typos on this? And once again, it's very similar to what we've already approved.
I want to go back to the golf cart rules. I just printed it out. Where's that other, you called it a inspection?
On page 1 of the Soundview area golf cart rules.
Okay.
It's on the last line.
Last line, ID plate and or decal flag issued upon successful.
Okay.
Aha.
Okay, upon successful verification.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Got that one. I review these. I think we're pretty much okay with this. Like I said, it's very similar to what we've already approved.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will reread them again as I make these corrections. Thank you, everybody, for bringing that to my attention.
no,
I'm serious.
Yeah, no,
I'm
definitely.
serious.
Always good to have a bunch of sets of eyes on it here.
Well, I got one more
Absolutely.
question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Harry.
Okay. On the bottom of page that says golf cart use regulations, line item 7 at the very bottom of the page, it says registration shall be deemed invalid if equipment and safety standards outlined in CGS 14-300 or this policy document are not met.
Mm-hmm.
So are they saying that if you're stopped and they find something that isn't working correctly, they can take your registration away?
Just like a car.
Okay.
Just like a car.
Okay. But yet when they're verifying equipment, they're not checking it.
The procedures that they use, Harry, is up to the police department.
All right. I just think that some of that's a little contradictory. Okay.
All right. If there are no other further comments regarding this, I think we probably should have a formal motion to approve these, so I could send them to the selectmen tomorrow. Do I have a motion to approve these with the changes?
I will motion to approve with changes noted.
All right. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Sloan, seconds. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
I
Okay.
abstain.
Harry abstains. All right, so it passes, and I will get this to the selectmen, or tomorrow morning, Paul, you and I will touch base. We'll just make those changes, and I could send a formal approval to the selectmen, and they can get this on their docket for approval.
Okay.
I did send out a message today to Michelle Noren, because I didn't know who else to ask, but the license plate we approved at the last meeting, the contractor came back and said he needed a high resolution image so he could put that on the plate. So hopefully I'll get that tomorrow, in which case I'll get that forwarded to them. I did talk to Nicole regarding how we can do the accounting, and she's got some ideas, and she'll just, once we get this thing finalized, she'll put together the proper accounting and plan so that funds can be moved in and out properly without any concern, and it's all according to the town regulations of Board of Finance. Make sure everybody is.
And
Yeah.
I spoke with the salesman from Countryside for the flags and the masks. Gave me a call today, asked me where we are, since he sent a free sample. I told him, we were close, but I really couldn't place an order just yet. And he did say it'd be about 5 weeks.
Okay. All right, so we may have to, table the flag issue, at least get the plates on them, and anybody wants them. All right, moving on. Any other business? I just have one quick item, and that is the Soundview Beach Association is holding their Independence Day Parade on July 3rd. Gail Fuller has put out some press information on that. Already talked to the police department regarding operating procedures for that parade, and so we should be all set there. Any other business from the commission members? Yes, Harry.
I just would like to make a comment that overall I think that the contractor that's doing the sidewalks has done an excellent job when it comes to being conscious of the businesses that they've interrupted, the way they've handled the traffic on the street, and the expediency and cleanliness of the way they've done their business. I think they've done an excellent job.
I agree. Thank you.
And they have proceeded.
I would totally agree with that, Harry.
Yeah.
So.
I think they've done, believe me, there's a lot of different people to talk to and a lot of different things going on, and I think that
they've been really efficient and really professional.
And their personnel have been very, very polite and accommodating. I can't say enough good about them.
Yeah, we really...
kind of the opposite of the water project.
we didn't have a choice in that project. We had a choice in this project.
And one last thing, and this is, you might be interested in this. I think that the Soundview Commission should honor Soundview Beach by printing T-shirts promoting that we're America's first beach and selling them through the carousel shop. I think that would be an excellent way to promote the area.
Great idea to get some nice graphics, if we could get some nice graphics.
I think maybe having an older picture of bathers from the 1900s or when it was started.
That's a great idea.
I think you've got the pictures, as a matter of fact.
I do.
But I would like to see that happen.
I will look into that.
Okay, great. Super.
There's some of the pictures that are depicted on the banners as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I have a banner that came down during one of the storms.
Oh,
it's
you
in my
have.
garage.
You have. Okay. Yeah. I
yes,
was wondering
I
what
will
happened.
drop it off at the community center. I meant to bring it tonight and I forgot.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. There's no other business of the commission.
Motion to adjourn.
No. You have to have public comment. Okay. Have to have public comment. It's on the agenda. Any public comment? Yes, Shirley.
This last weekend, I had a couple of my neighbors.
Could you come up here and speak up a little bit louder? And first, identify yourself, because we're on tape here.
Shirley and Luciana. I live on Portland Avenue. And one of my neighbors from across the street came over. And of course, on Portland Avenue, we have access to what now Miami Beach has taken over and not letting us go up, saying we have to go on Hartford Avenue, us live on Portland Avenue. And in our deeds, it says that our access way is in that one section. We don't have to go to Hartford Avenue, all right? And evidently, my neighbor from across the street tried to get onto the beach, and someone from over at the other beach said, you can't go up there. You know, you have to go on through Hartford Avenue. And she said, I live on Portland Avenue, and this is my deed, that this is my right of way to go through this. Well, it's not really a street, but it's a right of way to get up to the beach. And she said, I'm just going to go on that way. She said, if I have to, I'll go home and get my deed. So the gentleman was an older gentleman, and he said, just do what you want to do. And he just let her go through. Yeah. But every year, this happens. Miami Beach just figures that's their right of way, and we on Portland Avenue are the outlaws. We're the outlaws, okay? We belong on Hartford Avenue. We don't have access there. And, you know, all I can say is my grandparents were the first Italian people to buy on Hartford, on Portland Avenue. And it belonged for 5 years. She went to Mr. Hilliard and said she wanted to buy land, and she was the first Italian to buy. And that's our right of way. All right, so now I have people on the street.
Well, we certainly were aware of that, and we're going to, as I said earlier, we're going to address that tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get it resolved amicably.
And soon.
And soon.
Yeah, because anybody on Portland Avenue should be able to go have that access way.
You're absolutely right.
Without a doubt.
You know.
Without a doubt. So, I mean, I understand it. I have a stipulated agreement here that everybody signed off on. You've got it in your deeds. It's black and white. It's black and sign. It's black and white here. There's no reason why.
We should get them a passport.
Yeah.
To get them through.
Yeah. So
we do that.
So we should be able to, you know, reasonable people should be able to sit down and come up with a reasonable solution.
Hey, you got an identity card for your COVID shot.
And
well, I think it was overlooked in the urge to restrict traffic during COVID, so everybody kind of understood. But now that we don't have those restrictions, it really does need to be reopened.
Yeah.
We're certainly gonna do our very best tomorrow to resolve that, and I'll report back to you. Obviously, I'll see everybody along the way. No need to call me all weekend, by the way, to anybody that's listening. So,
558.
I think somebody posted my cell phone number out there for the public, but I'm aware of it. I'll do the best I can. I'll do whatever I can, you know, and I'm sure this commission will do it. Yeah, I'll escort you through it. You don't want an escort from me; they'll probably stop you at the top of Portland Avenue. But
Motion to adjourn.
all right,
Wait,
no
you
other.
have to ask if anybody else.
Any other public comment?
Nancy?
No.
All right, hearing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Harry's got that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your coming. And so ends the meeting.
Right.
Disconnect
Thank you for ending
everybody.
this at 8:57,
Yeah.
so I can go get food.
Good night.
Good night now. I think I can shut that off.